Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is the last deck that I'm featuring from our early access event for Phyrexia All Will Be One. That was an amazing event. Thank you to Wizards for letting me partake in that. This deck in particular is called TINMAN, and this is utilizing oil counters in the colors of Gruul, and I've seen a lot of players utilize this deck, use this deck to great effect. It seems like it builds itself, but what's cool about this deck is there's actually a lot of nuance and a lot of ways to kind of twist and tilt this deck in different directions, and I'm pretty happy with the version that we came up with. So before we get to that deck, make sure you like and subscribe. We did recently pass 1,000 subscribers, and we're well on our way to 2,000. Incredibly grateful for you guys. I think we're at like 1,200 now, which is really crazy. But the YouTube algorithm is an absolute monster, and we do need your help to push through it. So if you wouldn't mind just taking a second and just clicking that like button, I would appreciate it greatly. We did have our 24-hour marathon stream to celebrate 1,000 subscribers over the weekend, and it was absolutely amazing. We had tons of games. Everyone was having a great time in chat. We gave away tons of packs to the people that won, and I'm happy to say we did hit our 50 sub goal on Twitch for that stream. And the plan was, if we hit 50 subs over the course of that 24-hour stream, we were going to make a community night like that, a Crack-a-Pack community night, become a monthly thing. So now the last Thursday of every month, we're going to do Crack-a-Pack community night. You can come over to twitch.tv/quarantinedcapricorn. You can get in chat. You can trash talk me, you can play games against me, and every time you beat me, you win a pack. And at the end of the stream, I mail everybody their packs. I've got like 30 down there right now that I have to mail out to everybody from over the weekend. It was insane. We opened foil Jaces. We opened a Tyvar alt art that was foil. We cracked a couple collector's packs. There was just a lot of insanity going on. A lot of new people, a lot of fresh faces on the Twitch stream, and it was just an amazing success, and I'm really grateful. So the channel's full time. Crack-a-Pack community nights happening the last Thursday of every month, and every Thursday is going to be community night from now on over on Twitch. But the last Thursday of every month's Crack-a-Pack community night, where you guys can win those packs, just like we did for the 1K sub celebration stream that we did over the weekend. So make sure you join in for that, and without further ado, let's get to the deck. Alright, so this deck is really cool. The basic idea is we're just trying to go as deep as we possibly can into the oil mechanic, and trying to put pressure on our opponent as much as possible and just get in there for an aggro win while having a few tricks up our sleeves. So first of all, let's start with the early curve here and work our way up. We've got Exuberant Fuseling. Now this is a 1-drop 0/1 trample, gets +1/+0 for each oil counter on it, and it enters the battlefield with 1 oil counter. Whenever another creature or artifact we control dies, we get to add another counter to Exuberant Fuseling. Now this is really good. We build up counters on it. We swing in for a lot of trample damage. Very good for a 1-drop. We've also got Evolving Adaptive. This is 1 green for a 0/0. Comes into play with 1 oil counter. Gets +1/+1 for each oil counter on it. And every time we have another creature come into play, if it has bigger power or toughness than Evolving Adaptive, not both, either or, then the Evolving Adaptive will get another oil counter, which will keep making it grow in size +1/+1 each time. So we can start out by putting some aggression on the board pretty early with Evolving Adaptive and Exuberant Fuseling. Now we've also got in the 2-drop slot Armored Scrapgorger. Now this works really good with the Adaptive in particular because it's a 0/3, and like we pointed out with the Adaptive, anytime we have power or toughness greater than the Adaptives come into play, it gets an oil counter. So this being a 0/3 means even if the Adaptive has already grown once into a 2/2, if we play an Armored Scrapgorger, the 3 toughness is going to make the Adaptive grow an additional time, which is really nice. Now, the Scrapgorger itself is 2 mana for 0/3, can tap for a mana of any color, which means it can get us to lay out even more pressure quicker by ramping us up. Every time it becomes tapped, we get to exile a card from a graveyard and put an oil counter on Armored Scrapgorger. And then once it gets to 3 oil counters, it gets +3/+0. So eventually it turns into this 3/3 threat that also has a bunch of oil counters on it that we can use later in the game. And every time it swings at that point, or taps for mana still, but every time it swings or taps for mana, gets tapped for any reason, we get to still exile a card and add another another oil counter to it. So it's a great way to ramp out all of our stuff early and then give us even more pressure once we're done ramping out our creatures onto the field to just get in there and win the game. We've also got in the 2-drop slot Cankerbloom. Now, Cankerbloom is a great aggressive threat for this deck. This is 1 green and 1 for a 3/2 and has the ability to pay 1, sack it, destroy an artifact, destroy an enchantment, or proliferate, which means that we get 3 power in a 2-drop, which is really, really important for pressuring the opponent's life total. But then later in the game, if we need to destroy a problem artifact or enchantment, we can do that. We can do that without having to waste a card slot on that removal. It comes down in the form of this creature that's pressuring our opponent's life total and then can still double as that removal later in the game, which is really, really effective. But also the fact that we can sack this to proliferate is going to be really good because everything in this deck is trying to go wide with tons of oil counters. So if we get a bunch of permanents in play with oil counters on it and we sack a Cankerbloom to proliferate, now we're getting exponentially more oil counters, and we can use them all to just close out the game later in the game with the Filigree Sylex, and we'll get to that at the end. We've also got in the 2-drop slot Tablet of Completion. We've got 3 of these, and even though this is an aggro deck, sometimes we are going to run out of gas and we're going to want to keep refilling our hands. So Tablet of Completion is really nice because it comes down on 2, starts getting an oil counter every turn. If you can even just put 1 oil counter on this manually and then just like start to proliferate every turn or use some of the other cards in our deck to add oil counters on in other ways, you can get this to 5 where it starts to draw you a card every turn for only 1 mana for the rest of the game pretty easily. You can get there pretty easily, and on the way, eventually if it gets 2 or more, it gets to the point where now you can tap it for a colorless, and the tablet along with the Armored Scrapgorger is giving you enough ramp to really just vomit everything in your hand onto the battlefield and get in for wins, which is really nice. In the 3-drop slot, we've got 3 Migloz Maze Crusher, 3 mana for a 4/4, comes in with 5 oil counters. You could pay 1, remove an oil counter to give it Vigilance and Menace until end of turn, again helping us pressure the opponent's life total. Pay 2, remove 2 oil counters to give it +2/+2 until end of turn. This is nice if they try to use a combat trick. We can make sure we still kill their guy. We can make sure Migloz survives, or sometimes we can just get in for extra damage. Very effective. Can also pay 3, remove 3 oil counters from Migloz, destroy target artifact or enchantment. That means with the 3 Miglozes and the 4 Cankerblooms, we actually have 7 cards in this deck that can deal with problem artifacts or enchantments if we need to, without giving up any slots at all from putting pressure on the opponent by constantly putting dudes on the field that are going to swing at face and close the game out quick. It's really, really awesome that we have cards that can double up as those things without wasting slots. Just keep pressure on the opponent. We've also got 3 Bloated Contaminators. Now this is 3 mana for a 4/4 trample. That's already pretty crazy and ahead of rate. It's also got Toxic 1. Now, Toxic 1 can matter sometimes. Say you're up against a life gain deck. Now their life gain's not going to really matter much because you have this alternate win con. Even though it's not plan A with this deck, if we do happen to swing in with the Toxic 1, put a poison counter on them, its other ability, whenever Bloated Contaminator deals combat damage to a player you proliferate, is going to trigger and put a second poison counter on. So what that means is all we really need to do is hit 5 times with the Contaminator, and they're going to get their 10 poison counters from that, and we're going to win the game. Also, if we happen to get them close, we can do things like proliferate with Cankerbloom to get that last poison counter and win that way. And like I said, that's not plan A, but it's nice that we have this built-in alternate win condition where if we happen to play against a lifelink deck or a life gain deck, like we have another way to win the game where it doesn't matter how much life that they're gaining. And that's pretty cool. We've also got 3 Urabrasks forged. Now this is 1 red and 2 for an artifact. The beginning of combat on your turn, you put an oil counter on it, then you create an X1 red Phyrexian horror creature token with trample and haste, and its power is equal to the number of oil counters on the forge. So, first turn you play it, you're going to swing with a 1/1 trample haste that turn. Next turn it's 2/1. Next turn it's a 3/1. No matter what they do, they've got this thing swinging at their face unless they have artifact removal. And that's super effective. A lot of times you'll play against control decks and they're not going to main board too much artifact hate, but they're going to have a lot of creature removal. So if you can get them down low enough and then they happen to sweep your board or whatever the case may be, if you have a forge in play and they just don't have their artifact removal to deal with it, you can just keep swinging every turn no matter what Their removal, their creature removal is not going to matter very much, because if they kill the token, whatever, it was going to die at end of turn anyway, and next turn you're swinging with an even bigger one, and they just can't stop it unless they have the artifact removal. So really cool card to just close out the game and get there if you get close to the win. We've also got a 6-drop that deceptively looks like a 6-drop, but it's not really a 6-drop. This is a 5/5 Vigilance for 1 red, 1 green, and 4. It's called Cinderslash Ravager. It costs 1 less to cast for each permanent you control with oil counters on it. Since we're going so deep into oil counters, everything in our deck pretty much has oil counters on it, which means as soon as we hit that 4th permanent and play with an oil counter, this thing's coming down for only 2 mana. For a 5/5 Vigilance, and it's got another ability where when it enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. This is actually super important in the current meta, and it's really good in this deck in particular, because a lot of times our opponents might be playing with mites. They might have something like Skrelv on the field. There are a lot of pretty decent 1 toughness creatures that this just happens to deal with as just extra sort of silver lining value without, again, having to waste a card. And so you see a theme here. We have all these cards in our deck that can deal with certain problematic board states, whether it be artifacts, enchantments, a bunch of go wide 1/1 tokens, whatever the case may be. We have all these cards that can deal with those problems while not giving up any card slots that we need to be to pressure our opponents and to get in for aggro damage. And I think that's part of why this deck works so well, is we're just constantly pressuring the opponent's life total while still having plenty of answers in the deck to tilt it whatever direction we need to in order to deal with the current board state. So I think Ravager is a really, really effective card in this deck. We've also got 4 tricks here in the form of Free from Flesh. Now this is 1 red mana for an instant, gives target creature +2/+2 until end of turn, and you get to put 2 oil counters on it. This is especially effective for the creatures that get extra value off of oil counters. So for example, the Evolving Adaptive. If you use Free from Flesh on the Evolving Adaptive, not only is it getting the +2/+2, it's getting 2 more oil counters, which are giving it an additional +2/+2, and that +2/+2 stays forever because the oil counters are there forever. So you're essentially giving +4/+4, and +2/+2 of that stays forever. Super effective. Same thing with the Fuseling. You know, you're giving +2/+0 forever, as well as the +2/+2 buff at instant speed, and that can be really, really effective. Things like Migloz can also take advantage of this, where you're putting the oil counters on the Migloz, and they can be used later in the game to buff up the Migloz or for other abilities. So very, very effective. Not to mention, just getting more oil counters on permanents is gonna matter, because sometimes we can close out the game by just leading into a really big Filigree Sylex. Filigree Sylex is a 2 mana legendary artifact. You can tap it to put an oil counter on it. You can tap it and sacrifice it to destroy all non-land permanents with mana equal to the number of oil counters on it. And then you can tap it, remove 10 oil counters from all permanents you control, just a total of 10 from among any number, and deal 10 damage to any target. So what's cool about this is, because we have so many permanents in the deck with oil counters, all we have to do is top deck this later in the game once we get them to 10 or less life, and we can almost always guaranteed just slam it and just immediately remove 10 oil counters and do 10 damage to the head. So 2 mana to do 10 damage to the head is absolutely insane. But what's also cool about the Filigree Sylex is sometimes it's going to double as a sweeper. Sometimes, if we're in a very specific problematic spot with permanents we need to deal with, the Filigree Sylex can come through with a way to deal with them. And because of that, we want to be careful about how many counters are on the Filigree Sylex. So we never want to pass up the opportunity to put one on, at least not usually, unless we know an incredibly problematic permanent exists in our opponent's deck, and we need to like wait to deal with it with the Sylex. But that's rarely going to happen. But what we do want to do is hold open the potential, the opportunity to clear whatever problem permanents might come down. So what you want to do is, say you've got 1 counter on the Filigree Sylex. You want to say go, let your opponent take their turn, leave it at just 1 counter for their whole turn, and if they play enough 1-drops that you feel like it's valuable to sweep, you just sweep. If not, you finally add that 2nd counter at the end of the turn. And then next turn you do the same thing. When it's their next turn, you'll have 2 counters on it. You leave it at 2. You wait and see how many 2-drops they have and if you need to deal with them. And if not, at the end of their turn, you add 3. So you're always being very careful to sort of evaluate the board state, evaluate what might be coming down, and waiting until the last available moment to put another oil counter on it, but making sure that if you don't need to use the Sylex, you are putting that counter on so you can build up to a maximum threshold and get to doing 10 damage that much quicker. It's also another way to kind of deal with a problematic permanent. We don't normally want to do this, but if they happen to slam like a Sheoldred or whatever, and we absolutely need it gone or we're gonna be toast, we can just remove 10 oil counters from among permanents, shoot the Sheoldred for 10, and just kill it that way. But a lot of times we're looking to just end the game outright with this, and it's super easy to do that pretty consistently with just how many permanents have oil counters here. We've even got in the mana base 4 Monumental Facades, which come into play with 2 oil counters on them each. And you can tap it and remove an oil counter to put an oil counter on another permanent. And that's really cool because if we have Monumental Facade in play, and then we do something like sack a Cankerbloom to proliferate, or hit in with a Bloated Contaminator to proliferate, even the Monumental Facade's going to get an additional counter, so this will shoot up to 3. So a lot of times you might want to be careful and maybe put the first counter from Monumental Facade on something to get your counter, get your threshold of counters up higher quicker. Like maybe you've got a Forge down that you want to put a counter on, or maybe you've got an Adaptive and you want to make it more powerful. But then that last counter you want to usually save on the Facade for those moments where you get to proliferate, get another counter on, and then you can start putting stuff. Because as soon as you get rid of that last counter, proliferating is not going to put counters on this anymore. So you have to be very careful with how you use your counters from the Facade. A lot of times it can ramp you to kill out the opponent pretty quickly by being able to put 2 oil counters on whatever you want over the course of 2 turns, which can just speed things up incredibly. But you can also be careful to suck every ounce of value out of it by saving one last counter on it for when you proliferate. Very effective. And then we've also got 1 Seedcore, because sometimes we've got 1/1s, like with the Fuseling or the Adaptive, and we can use the Corrupted ability if we happen to get some poison counters on the opponent with Bloated Contaminator, maybe proliferate once or twice. We can get to Corrupted. We can make our 1/1s a little bigger. It's very effective, but even more important than that is it just helps us fix our mana that much more. Almost every card in the deck, at least all of the creatures, I believe, they're all Phyrexians. They're all Phyrexians. So this thing essentially counts as making a mana of any color, making whatever colors we need for most of the creatures in our deck. All of the creatures in our deck, really, unless you count the Forge, which isn't really a creature itself. But yeah, I think just 1 Seedcore really helps round out the deck, gives us that little bit of extra mana fixing, and this offhand ability that's not going to come up very often, but there's kind of no cost to really including it in our deck as just a one-of. I think it's pretty effective to just get some extra value. And this is the deck. We're rocking 4 Rockfall Vales, Karplusan Forests, and Copperline Gorge, just so we can make sure we have all the fixing in the world. 1 Forest, 1 Mountain, 1 Sokenzan, and 1 Boseiju, so that we just have more things to do with our lands if we happen to top deck them later in the game. And the deck was pretty effective. We jammed this through all of early access. We had a blast with it, and it's probably one of my most favorite aggro decks that I've played in recent memory. So you'll see the games are pretty wild, and let's jump in and check them out. All right, we'll keep this. Also, the mana base is kind of designed around making sure I can play things turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, which is why I kept it 2 colors. I could have gone Jund, but we want to always have a 1-drop to play on turn 1. So Mountain, Fuseling, and then we can go Seedcore, Scrapgorger. Swing 1. Halberd. Let's go Forest. Do it this way. Alright. Smash. Guess I should have played the Forge first. That's okay, though. That is okay. Boom. Boom. All of that is fine. If one Fuseling dies when the other one's out, it just helps make the other one bigger, so it's not as bad, right? Just kind of go for it. Kemba. Ooh. That's gonna be really bad against us. Really, really bad. Do we make two dudes? Probably. If he eats the Ravager and then takes two. Don't know how I feel about it. I think we have to wait one more turn. That sword is just a problem. We just have to get really wide to go around it. And that's it. Plays an Astor. But I mean, we're gonna have 10 counters next turn. So if we top deck the Sylex, we'll just win. Not quite. But it is a Forge. Which isn't nothing. Swing with just those guys. Just biding our time, building up our oil counters. All we gotta do is top deck a Sylex and we win. Maybe we should be playing with 4, actually. I mean, it doesn't hurt to just, if we have one in hand, just play it early and start putting oil counters on it every turn. If we top deck another one, we can just keep it in hand until the first one's gone, right? I think it would probably work. Another sword. Well, I guess we're just gonna need that Sylex. Some card draw would be nice. Some Proliferate would be nice. Can't really swing. I mean, he can maybe swing with one of the creatures. But if he doesn't have trample, we can chump block with the colorless spirit, which buys us some turns. I mean, it's something. Eventually we can get through with the trample, right? Good lord. They die, Fuseling gets more counters, and the turn seems pretty good. Jorkadine, sure. It's not bad. Can it get haste from anything? Haste would be the problem. Because it has to attack. No, he's just shoring up the board. Look at him go. Alright. Things are starting to get real now. Things are starting to get real. Pretty soon we're still going to be trampling through. I think. I think. Get more counters on the Fuseling. And the turn. Man, just a little bit of card draw would be insane. Maybe we do want Tablet of Completion in here. For just a little bit of card draw. Plays a rabbit battery. What else? Equip it to Jorkadine so you can draw a card. Barbed Batterfist. Come at me. No, you don't want to. Free from Flesh. Our Fuseling could be a 14-1. That's an awful lot. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, it's too late. That makes sense, I guess. That's okay. None of them are getting through this turn anyway, so it's not really a waste. Next turn it might be. We're just gonna do this now. Just to make sure. End turn. Where's our Sylex? This wouldn't have been a problem if we had 4. It's legendary though, you know? I was thinking 3 was a good place to start with it. We have 27 oil counters out. 27. He wants to draw a card. This thing has trample, so Just let it through. But the 7/7. 7/7 we're blocking. Right. And now he's gonna move his swords, I assume. Does he play the Kemba? Probably not a good idea. He should move both of his swords to have good blocks. But I don't know if he has good enough blocks. He's only got 4 blockers, right? If we just swing with everything and the trample, I think we just win. So that's probably what we got to do at this point. That's what we got to do at this point. This is the turn. It's now or never. He must have removal for the Fuseling. Unless he's got lifelink I'm not seeing. Don't see any lifelink. I want to use the Free from Flesh on the Fuseling, but I gotta be careful about his removal, you know? Rebel Salvo. Loses indestructible until end of turn. Okay, there's nothing we can do about that. Which means we're gonna want to put Free from Flesh on something else. 2, 3, 8, 9. Don't think it's enough, guys. Because of the swords. Yeah. I don't think it's enough. Oh wait, no, this guy's doing 3, right? So yeah. If he's got swords in his hand, we're toast. Otherwise, I think we're okay. Because of trample. We got there. Whew! We can keep 7. It sucks that we don't have a 1-drop, but we'll make it work. Cankerbloom into the Forge, I think. Depends what kind of deck we're up against. I think Bloated Contaminator would actually be better, because if we end up being able to hit with it, we can do some pretty big shenanigans. Pretty big shenanigans. Get him for 3. He really wants to give us a poison counter. And then he'll play Drown and Ichor on our Contaminator, most likely. Give us an extra poison counter and kill it. That's what I would do. Tap land leads me to believe that's the play. Nope, Anoint with Infliction. Affliction, sorry. Interesting. Let's see. Do we want the 1 mana held up for Cankerbloom? I don't think we care. I think we put down the Gorge. We play the Forge. Gorge into Forge. And smash in. And hopefully the Forge will be harder for our opponent to deal with. Hey, it's Danny T-Law again. Alright, another boy. Another boy. We'll go like Migloz. Into Forge. Swing. We're so close to being able to play the Ravager. So close. End the turn. But I mean, next turn we can go Forge into Ravager. If we want. Which should be kind of crazy. Vraska Betrayal's Sting. It's pretty good.
Phyrexian life will rise from your corpses.
Will we keep the oil counters? That's the question. Do. That's rad. That Cinderslash Ravager is going to do some mighty fine work. Some mighty, mighty fine work. So, if I blow up the Cankerbloom, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Alright, we're gonna do this. And then we're gonna swing. Should we just swing at the face? No, we'll swing like this. If he wants to save Vraska. For each permanent you control with oil counters on it. So we need another permanent with an oil counter. I guess we gotta do it like this, huh? Feels bad. Feels bad, but we gotta do it. Gotta do what we gotta do. 4 and 2 is 6. So 3 turns and we'll have enough just between these. And actually if we pop the Cankerbloom, 2 turns. And actually if we proliferate with the Contaminator, 1 turn. This might be a thing, guys. Gets in, gives me a poison counter. think we're good. Just gonna cycle. And we'll smash in. Adaptive into Cankerbloom. Into Migloz. Looks good to me. Playing against Uncle Russ. Keep it. Alright. Evolving Adaptive. I would love to get both on the field before playing the Cankerbloom, but I don't think that's reasonable. Well, maybe it is. We got Free from Flesh, right? Let's try swinging. And just play it. Instead of playing Migloz next turn, we're just going to play Cankerbloom and Free from Flesh. And that seems kind of okay to me. Wow. Okay. We're coming in, baby. We are coming in for a lot of damage. A lot of damage. A lot of damage. It's 8. Oh god. Oh god. No blocks. Seedcore. We'll go Migloz. And we will swing for 10. And the turn, we can hold up the ability to sack the Cankerbloom if we need to. Alright, goodbye all will be one. Under normal circumstances, I would just save that and not kill it yet. But, we've easily got this, so. Turn 5. In the books. This deck is nasty, guys. Absolute insanity. That's my hope. We'll keep 7 here. Start with the mountain, just in case we draw another green source, we don't have to play out the Boseiju. Yeah, I don't normally like aggro decks. I very much like synergy-based decks. Cut down. You gonna cut me? You're gonna cut me. Voidwing Hype. Well, that kind of changes my plan. Now I just want to play Tablet and Sylex and not the Forge. Pass turn. Sure, we'll get a poison counter. That's fine. Add an oil counter. Add an oil counter. Evolving Adaptive. Whenever it becomes tapped, exile a card from a graveyard and put an oil counter on it. So we're going to try this. Because why not? If we draw out a counterspell because of it, sick. You know? I mean, honestly, it's still going to be better to pay it. We're not going to be able to do anything else. And now we've got 3 oil counters on the Scrapgorger, and it's a big boy. Whisper of the Dross. Sure. Would you like to proliferate, sir? Hey, Raven. End turn, I guess. We'll be able to start using the Tablet of Completion for mana next turn if we want. But honestly, we probably just build it up. Voidwing Hybrid again. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value equal to. So if we put a counter on it this time, we can kill all the 2-drops. But that's probably not great. Let's just get some oil counters. And let's play the Forge, I guess. See if he has a counterspell for it. He does not. Swing, swing. Eat a thing. Get an oil counter. So now at any point in time we can, like, remove all our oil counters and do 10. Because we have enough. We could do it. I don't necessarily want to yet. I want to get him down to 10 first, of course. I think we can. I think we kill him this turn. Unless he can kill that Filigree Sylex. It's not looking like it, guys. Adaptive gets bigger. Smack in. Eat the thing. Get another oil counter. Each opponent gets a poison counter, draw a card. That's fine. Sick. Boom. 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, it should be 3 from this. 3, 4. Do it like that. Just in case. If he's got some kind of a stifle. He does not. He does get to proliferate. We go up to 8 poison. And then we smack him in the face. Goodbye. Alright, this is going to be weird. We have a Scrapgorger. So we play Scrapgorger on 2. And then we play Migloz on 3 using the Scrapgorger. Maybe we get lucky and top deck a red or green land and we can play the Fuseling as well that turn. I think it's worth keeping, it's just weird. Hey, we got a Seedcore. Well, we're good then. Fuseling. Boom. Barbed Batterfist. Well. Well. Let's see if he wants to trade, shall we? He does want to trade. Sick. I like that. Nahiri. Pretty interesting.
Show me what you're made of.
Alright. Do we do another Seedcore? No. The Rockfall Vale. Play Migloz. And pass the turn. But at the end of turn we will eat something out of the yard. Probably his Glider that he discarded. Attacks a player each combat if able. If able, sure. That's fine.
There is no running.
Quick creatures. Double Strike. 4 Mirrodin. 2/2 Double Strike. 3/1 Double Strike. Interesting. We're gonna kill it. We're gonna kill it so hard. We'll go, I guess another Monumental Facades, and then we'll tap them both for a Filigree Sylex, and then we will put a counter on the Filigree Sylex, and then we will play the Ravager. And then we will swing. Looks pretty good to me. And the turn. So we're going to hold up Scrapgorger in case he gets one of these equipments into his yard. We can eat it in response to the 0 loyalty ability, which would be really nice. Not going to lie. Sacrifice 2 things to do things. Sure. I don't know if it's gonna matter. 5, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna be really close, right? Oh no, we can just do it. Actually, we could have done it last turn. We could have already won. I forgot about the Monumental Facades. Get rid of you. My turn. And we will win. We will do all the wins. Don't even care. Don't even care. Goodbye. We'll keep this. Sylex on 2. Honestly, probably Forge on 3, if I'm being completely honest. Because he's probably just going to kill the Contaminator, right? So, I mean, if he's just going to kill the Contaminator, then it's way better. It's way better to just put something out he can't kill. Or is less likely to be able to kill. Alright, we take one. Another Virus Beetle. This is legitimately tricky. I think at this point we get rid of the Adaptive. I think it's less likely that will matter. And we'll put an oil counter on the Sylex. And play another Copperline Gorge, jeez. And we'll play Urabrask's Forge. And we'll swing. Alright. So at this point we're getting 2 a turn. So it should only take us 4 turns and we can hit him in the head for 10. And by then the Forge should be getting through for damage, so should be pretty okay. What were you saying about coffee, cookies, and streams? Duchess hates coffee as well. I believe it. I'd believe it. What's more important? Let's get the Contaminator down. So if he does have removal, I'd rather keep the thing that has all the oil counters. I'd rather be swinging with the thing that's going to be giving me more oil counters. Makes sense to me. Ooh, a sea salt. That actually kind of sounds rad. Okay, so he's going to make me sack the Contaminator. That's fine. I mean, if that's what he's spending his turn doing, and we're just getting in with the Forge every turn, it's pretty good. I'm not worried about that. We'll just keep putting oil counters on the Sylex, so we can start drawing cards eventually, because we are running out of gas. But I mean, we're so close to just winning. We just need to do 7. We could hit for 3 and then 4, and that would do it.
Happy to help, but I'm taking the credit when we win. Don't overthink things.
Get rid of the free from flesh. Maybe it's better to do it this way. Wait, why can't I play Migloz? Red, green. Oh, right, this is the Filigree Sylex. That's different than what I was thinking. I was thinking it was the Tablet of Completion one. We'll just do it that way.
I really don't have time for you.
Extraction Specialist is awesome. I love that card. Whoever's talking about Extraction Specialists in chat, you guys are real ones. The real ones. Obliterator? Uh-oh. That's a problem. That is a big, big problem. We don't have enough damage yet. So this is the plan. The plan is we let the Obliterator hit us in the face and hope to God he doesn't have a fight spell. And that's it. That's the whole plan. Because we could do 10 damage to his head and get him to 6, but that's not going to do it right now. And we could also do 10 damage to the Obliterator and sack our whole board. I mean, that's an option. It seems like a bad option. Please God no. Please God no. Please God no. Don't do it. Just don't have a fight spell. Just don't have a fight spell. I'll take it. I will take it. Oh, the Menace isn't going to matter because he's got Virus Beetles. Damn it! We could remove 3 to kill an artifact. Remove 3 to kill another artifact. No, wait. We could... Oh, wait. We can do this. Hold on a second. Hold on just a second. 3. Destroy you. This is our only chance, guys. Sack Cankerbloom. Destroy the other Virus Beetle. Give it Vigilance and Menace. So close. So close. So close. We've got one more oil counter left. One more to get through for one more hit with Vigilance and Menace. Can we do it? I don't know, guys. Drivnod. Well, that takes his whole turn, so... It's not nothing. I don't know if it's good enough. But it's not nothing. Let's put a counter on this sucker. What if we... We could have just sacked this and destroyed everything that was 4. I didn't think about that. We would have been in a very good position if we had done that. No attacks, unfortunately. We need to get a little bit lucky. If he gets a little overzealous and swings with the Drivnod, we could be pretty okay. Sucks that you can't take oil counters off, other than, you know, the obvious way, which gets rid of the Sylex. But we're so close to killing him with it. We have to block Drivnod because we have to let Obliterator through, right? And if we took both, we'd go to 2, which is a little bit much. Just a little bit. He's thinking hard. He can't really afford to attack unless he can get rid of the Migloz. Or get another blocker down for it. Guess. Thane of Contracts. Interesting. My turn, you say. Let's eat this guy. Get out of here. Boseiju. I don't think that's quite enough. But I think we can win anyway. It really depends what that card is in there. I think we should go for it, though. I think we should go for it, guys. Here we go. Are you ready? Full control. Should probably still give the Metis. Even though I missed the chance to give it Vigilance. That way, if he has removal, it has to be removal that gets rid of Migloz. Or we win. After blocks, we just take the counters off whatever we need to. Do 10 to his head. And he'll be dead when the Obliterator goes off. He should be dead when the Obliterator goes off. Gonna double block the Migloz. I mean, that's even better. We don't have to hit the Obliterator. Right? Black Sun's Twilight. Sure. I don't think that's enough, though. Boom. Boom. There we go. The game. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. We're working hard to get to 2,000 subscribers now because we blew right past 1,000. So make sure you like and subscribe. Also, if you'd like more magic deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere over there. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.